James is on his third term as the president of the Kingsport Home Builders Association. And a week from today, next Friday, we have the home show. So for those reasons, I thought, the Home Builders great organization, and I thought that James would be a really good speaker for us. Now, one qualifier here, I've got to do an Arbor Day proclamation, so I'm going to have to leave a little early. So there's no reflection on our guest speaker. That's just one of those mayor things, okay? All right, so I'm going to get on with his biography. If you like it, Bobby wrote it. If you don't, it's Dennis's fault. All right, James Phillips has been a small business owner in Kingsport for the last 15 plus years. He's a general contractor, developer, and event organizer. James and his wife Crystal are developers and apartment owners, property managers of over 120 units in the area, including the ones right out the back door, right over there, Jamestown. Okay. Since moving back to Kingsport in 2007, by the way, James is a Dobbins-Bennett grad, yay, class of 99, and a University of Tennessee grad. He's served on many boards, including the Greater Kingsport Area Home Builders Association, the Regional Planning Commission, the Chamber Board, Downtown Kingsport Association, Workforce Education, and others. And for the last 5 years, he's been on the Kingsport Board of Mayor and Aldermen. James and Crystal celebrate their 10th anniversary in May and are raising their 6-year-old daughter, Landry, who's a wonderful child. And please give a big Kiwanis welcome to James.
Thanks, Mayor. All right, thank you all for being here. The mayor took most of my speaking notes, so everybody have a good day, and we'll see you next week. I do appreciate you all having me here. I think I know most of you all in one capacity or another, and I think most of you all probably know me in one capacity or another. And so, as the mayor mentioned today, the hat I'm wearing is the president of the Home Builders Association. And so, this is my third year. I just started my third year as president in January. It'll probably be my final year for a little while as I'm rearranging my schedule a little bit to have some free time to coach soccer and do a few things with the kindergartner. Being the president allows me this opportunity to come and talk to you all today about the Home Builders Association and about our home show that we do have coming up next week. I will try not to bore you. I spoke to some students at Dobbins-Bennett last week, and I only had 3 or 4 of them fall asleep. So if we can do better than that today, that'd be great. A little bit about the Home Builders Association, and I'll give you some statistics on what's going on in Kingsport right now as well. So some things you may not know is Kingsport right now is in the top 20 of housing destinations in the United States. It's been in the top 20 for the last 7 quarters, and it was in the top 10 at one point. It and Johnson City are both continuously in the top 20. And so when I tell people out of town about that, they don't understand how more people are moving here than Houston, but that's not what it means. It breaks it down by population and percentage and how many homes are being sold, how many homes are available, and things like that. And so by that formula they break out, we have continuously been in the top 10 and the top 20. So we are a destination that people are looking to move to, and homes are needing to be built. And I'll talk a little bit about that. Now, the competitive spirit in me wants to tell you that Kingsport has outsold Johnson City in the last 12 months in total homes sold. The one thing where we are not beating Johnson City on right now is the prices of the homes. So they're a little bit higher in Johnson City. And a reason for that is, my personal opinion, and there's some data that backs this up, is our housing stock in Kingsport is substantially older than Johnson City's. And that comes from when all the factories went up over here, all these homes got thrown up as fast as possible. And my dad and I and mom and wife, we have remodeled some homes that were built in 1912, 1915, 16, And so when you go into these homes and just, they're one level, but that one level has 6 different levels inside it. And so that is what you're dealing with. And so that older home stock brings our housing prices down a little bit. Now, what balances that out is the new construction homes being built. And so I think that's why we lag behind a little bit in that, but we'll continue. We'll continue to grow in that as we continue to try and find land to build new developments in. So, tell you a little bit that's some little facts about Kingsport's housing market, and I'll tell you a little bit about the Home Builders Organization. It started in 1970, and before that, up to 1969, there was one group, and that one group represented the entire region. But in 1970, the groups decided that they needed separate groups to represent each city and each division because they're different, different code enforcements and different things like that. And so our organization is part of the state organization, which is then part of the national organization. Now, the national organization just had their meeting in Las Vegas. They're actually flying back today. There's some people from this area and from Nashville and across the state that are coming back from the National Home Show. And they usually get a lot of good new things to build, new ways to build and policies that are coming up from a federal level on down that could affect us. Now, on our name, the exact name of our group is Home Builders Association of Greater Kingsport. So it's Greater Kingsport because we do represent more than Kingsport. We represent 3 counties. We're in Hawkins County, where we got Churchill, and the reason for that is so that the state wants to make sure that everybody in the state is covered by a home builders organization. And so if somebody down in Mount Carmel is having some building issues, they would come to us, and we could go down to their board and speak on behalf of that and speak to what we would recommend. And so our goals as a home builders organization, our goals are pretty simple. It's to defeat excessive regulation and then red tape that prevents affordable housing. So I mentioned the housing situation. I mean, I think everybody's seen and everybody's heard about the housing problem in the United States. It's not just here, it's everywhere. Even in places where people say they're, leaving. I'll give you a great example. Everybody's leaving California. Everybody's getting out of there. But Riverside, California has been in the top 3 of places that people are moving in the United States in terms of population for like the last 2 years. So it's everywhere is experiencing this. And so what we have to do, though, as a home builders association from the state level and from the federal level and a little bit from the local, is we've got to figure out how to find a balance in keeping housing affordable while fighting back some of the red tape. They're consistently wanting to put more legislation on building homes, more codes, more things to do. Well, each one of those hoops has a dollar figure attached to it. And so this, to me, is one of the most alarming stats there is. When I was on the BMA, I still am, but when I ran for BMA, one of the reasons I ran is because I could foresee a housing crisis, and I wanted to hopefully help our city be prepared for when that housing crisis came. We were builder friendly and builder ready. And so when I was doing that, when we had meetings, the builders would tell us a starter home price was between $200,000 and $250,000. Now, this was 5 years ago. I've been on the board 5 years. This was 5 years ago. Today, that has ballooned all the way up, a starter home price to $350,000 in 5 years. And so it's obvious that somebody who can afford a $250,000 home, or not, they may struggle to afford that $350,000 home now just to buy their first home. So how can we stop that rapid growth? And so that's what the Home Builders Association, we try to do. And, but I will say that's more of a national level and a state level because the goals differ from the state level down to the local level. And I'll tell you, they differ by city too. And so, most things that we get asked from a home builders situation to lobby against are mostly geared towards Nashville and Memphis a little bit, Knoxville a little bit less. And that's difficult for our local association because we have a great relationship with I'm on the BMA and I'm also president of the Home Builders Association, and with our city manager and with our building department. They come to all our meetings, so we have a great relationship. But that's not the case across the state. So it becomes very difficult when the state Home Builders Association is asking us to lobby for something that only matters to Nashville, but they want to have a new state law that blanket covers everybody. And so we walk kind of a fine line with that. And one example I'll give you is impact fees. Impact fees are right now in Nashville, Williamson County, and some other counties around Nashville area. They are growing so fast, they cannot keep their infrastructure up. There's one county that needs like 4 new schools right now. And so how do they get these new schools built, get this new infrastructure put in without drastically raising taxes? And so their idea is impact fees. Well, this is exactly what I was kind of talking about. How do you try to build affordable housing, but then the county or a city wants to tack on anywhere from $2.50 to $20 a square foot for a new home being built? And so now the Home Builders Association is against impact fees, but that's not something, and I'll look at Chris, but that's not something that we really deal with here. And that's not something that we would at this point and maybe ever consider, because Kingsport is growing at a rate that's good for us, and we can sustain that, and our infrastructure can handle that. But these other cities are looking for a solution, and so they want this statewide impact fee bill passed, which will negatively affect everybody except really Nashville, and then Memphis. Once that Ford plant gets up and going, they're going to need a ton of housing. So so that's a little bit about how we differ. I was talking to Sharon earlier. We are very similar. I'm sure some of y'all are familiar with the Realtors Association. We are very similar to how they operate, and our goals align on a lot of different things. We differ on some things, but for the most part, our goals kind of align. And then locally, from our City of Kingsport Home Builders Association, our goals are to keep an eye on local codes and make sure nothing is going too far. And in my 5 years on the BMA and 3 years as president of Home Builders Association, I've never had an instance of there being something that we have not been able to work out, and rarely have an instance where we even have a disagreement. And then another one of our focuses that we do is education. And that for me is a huge focus for our organization in its 2 parts. We want to educate our members. We have weekly meetings just like you all. And at our meetings, we have guests just like you all, but our guests will be, if there's a new developer, for example, just last year we had the Brickyard developer come and do a presentation on what was going on with the Brickyard property and how we as local home builders could help, because they've got an area designated just for local builders. And so we want to be able to provide them with enough builders to sell those homes. And so we have education like that. We may have somebody come and say, this is a new way to put up guttering, or this is a new way to shingle a roof, and they'll walk us through a course on that. And so we're always trying to educate our members at our monthly meetings, but we're also, which for me is the most important thing, is we're working with our local high schools, our TCATs, and our community college, Northeast State, to grow the next generation of builders. And so we're working on education in the classroom. And so like everybody else in every field, I think, we are seeing less and less skilled tradesmen. And so we have got to figure out how to stop that gap. And it's the pendulum is swinging back right now. But the problem is where everybody felt like you had to have a 4-year college education, to where now you got all these 4-year college educated people who don't know how to change a light bulb. And so we're swinging the pendulum back to where we've got to get some training into the high schools and into a pathway that they don't have to go to a 4-year college, that they can go to this TCAT, and in 18 months they can have a contractors. They can have a certificate for framing. They can have training in plumbing, training in electricity, and in HVAC. And so programs like that are really, really important to us, and we want to continue to push those. And also, in case you all are ever building or doing something, we are there for you if you need to call and you're looking for subcontractors. So, I mean, we have the contacts for all these people who can build and do different things. So feel free to always call Carolyn at the home builder's office. She will get you directed towards somebody, or, get with me and I can get you towards somebody. And the last thing I'll tell you about just the Home Builders Association is our yearly membership is $500 a year. We have different reasons that people join. We have everybody from yard maintenance people all the way up to new construction homes, to block layers, to everybody that's a member. And part of that is I'm a general contractor. So by being my membership, it counts as my continuing education training. So that was something. An interesting fact is that before 2008 hit, I think the state of Tennessee had something like 12,000 members in their home builders association. And after 2008, the housing crisis, that number dropped down to all the way to 5,000 people. And so the legislators with the home builders associations in the state saw that a way to fix that was to tie your continuing education with being members of the home builders association. So we're getting that education through our meetings and everything, but that it's very helpful. So that's a little bit about our organization. I think the main reason Pat asked me to come here today was just talk to you about the home show a little bit, which is next weekend. And so this year we are excited to tell that we are celebrating our 50th anniversary of the home show. So this is our 54th year as a organization, and first 3 years we didn't have a home show, and the only one we have missed since then was 2021. We had 2020s the week before the pandemic happened, so that was great. And then 2021 we weren't able to have one, and so this is our 50th anniversary, and we're doing a few things this year that I'm excited about to celebrate that anniversary. So this year's event is March 8th, 9th, and 10th. And it's at Meadowview, and admission is $5. Now we got specials each day. So on Friday, the event's from 4 to 8, and it's senior night. Now nobody in this room needs to worry about senior night, but it's $1 off tickets if you know anybody that's a senior. And then on Saturday from 9:30 to 5, and then Sunday 12 to 5. On Saturday, one of the things we're doing this year to celebrate the 50th anniversary of the home show is we are bringing back the kids workshop. So we have, with a partnership with Lowe's on Weststone Drive, if you come on Saturday, bring your kids, bring your grandkids. My wife and I will be working the booth all day. And so the kids are going to get these little kits to build cars or boats or, little construction things. And they get a free hammer, they get their goggles, they get an apron. And so they get to keep the hammer and they can bring it back to your house and do work later if you'd like them to. But it's a cool little thing. There's no charge. We're just doing that because, I try to think about how when I go to the home show, except for all the free candy my daughter gets, what would she like to do? And so I think she would love something like this. And so that's why we're bringing that back this year. About the home show, it is our number one, far and away, our number one fundraiser. And that is what allows us to do any of the things that I've talked to you all here about. It allows us to function. We have a full-time employee, Carolyn, who's been with the Home Builders Association for a little bit, and she does a wonderful job. And so without this home show, the 1 year we didn't have it, we luckily had built up over 30 some years enough savings that we could skip having 1 year, but a second year would have been fairly detrimental to us. And so the cool thing about our home show is it is actually one of the largest home shows in the state. It is definitely the largest home show from Nashville to here. It's for east of Nashville. It is the largest home show in the state. And Steve was in Charleston and went to a home show. Our home show is way bigger than Charleston. So we are when we go to state meetings, they ask us to come up and present on our home show because our home show is a really a flagship event for home builders associations, and so much so that other cities in the region have stopped having home shows just because everybody kind of focuses on ours. So we're really excited about it. We have over 150 exhibitors. We've blown past that. We are close to selling out this year, which is about 167 exhibitors. So hoping to be sold out by the time we get there next week. And then those exhibitors range from, I got to read this part, new construction, remodeling, landscaping, pools and spas, cabinets, wood, windows and doors, along with many other projects and services. So they either improve your living space, your outdoor living space, or build your dream home. Or get your yard mowed. You can do it all. Last year we had a group that built a steel framed house. They built it inside the Meadowview Convention Center, and you could walk around in it and see what a house looks like just with steel frames. It was really neat. And then, so some of our exhibitors, one of those I'll tell you about, which is a cool story about our home show, is Mountaineer Tile. I don't know if any of y'all are familiar with Mountaineer Tile. So Mountaineer Tile, it was a family, a father and son, that opened Mountaineer Tile, and they were over where Tuesday Morning used to be behind the post office. And they opened up a business over there about 2 weeks before the home show. and they signed up to come to the home show. And just from our home show, they got enough business in 3 days to carry them forward through the next year to the next home show. And this was after opening their doors. Then they'll tell you the story. They say, well, when we came in year 2, we knew what we were doing. And so when they came in year 2, they grew and expanded on their business and on their clientele. And they've grown so much where in just 3 short years, Mountaineer Tile is now doing custom tubs, tile, flooring, cabinets for several of the area's largest home builders. And so that is a constant story that we hear at our home show, is just that, you know, the business that most of these people get from our home show is what will carry them through the year. And it's a funny dynamic right now, because most of our builders we talk to, I'll give you an example, is Travis Patterson. All right, when you talk to Travis, he's booking up jobs in 2025 already. All right, he's done with 2024. So how do you get them to come to the home show? So that's been an interesting dynamic that we've seen over the last 3 years, is, you know, it's the vendors are changing in some instances, but it's allowing new vendors to come in and grow, because our other vendors are so full and our schedules are so full, but that's because demand is so high right now. So it's a good problem to have. Now, each ticket, which I have given everybody a comp ticket at the seat. If you need another one, or if you did not find one, they're back at the table. Each one of those tickets is a drawing into a contest we have on Sunday. So that drawing is we do door prizes, and so there's a bunch of different door prizes. Most of the vendors that are there give a door prize away, but the Home Builders Association gives away a $500 shopping spree with any vendor at the home show for either products or services. And so all you got to do is, we don't sell those. We throw them away after the event's done. But if you fill out that part of your ticket, when you get to the home show, just hand us that part of your ticket. And then on Sunday, we do our drawing at 5 o'clock. And everybody that's there, everybody that's thrown their ticket in, has a chance to win that. And then other door prizes. Last year, I think we had 10, 15 different door prizes, plus the $500 one. So make sure to do that. And then I've got one other thing I want to tell you about, and then I'll open it up to questions. I mentioned earlier that we're doing a few things to celebrate our 50th year anniversary. So the last one I'll tell you about, I can't completely tell you about it. I can only tease it a little bit. Is on Friday, March 8th at 4 p.m. We are in conjunction with the ribbon cutting of the home show, we are also making a major announcement about a partnership we have formed that will benefit the City of Kingsport, the Home Builders Association, our education partners, and more. This is something that I have personally been working towards for my 2 years as president and going into my 3rd year now. That, as I mentioned, education is super important to me, and I want to figure out a way that our Home Builders Association can continue to leave a legacy here in Kingsport and can continue doing something on into the future that will improve this city. Any board I'm on, I want to do something that is going to continue to go and can also improve this city. And so I really am excited about what we're going to announce next Friday. I would love to have any of y'all that want to come out and attend. Please come. I met of you. And then if you're not, just look us up on Facebook. And you can follow us on there, and Carolyn will be live streaming the announcement on there, and you'll also be seeing it on the news and in the paper and everything. So I told you about your comp ticket. I also left at the table, there's a layout of the home show. You don't need that, but I just left it so you can get an idea of what the home show looks like. I left a couple at each table. That's just kind of what our show looks like. And I appreciate you all having me here today. That's really about all I've got. I'll be happy to answer any and all questions about the home show or the Home Builders Association.